Alrighty, so thank you for those that are joining live today. And for everyone else, hopefully you've got time to enjoy this practice later. So for today's class, I wanted us to kind of create our own mantra and see if we can focus on that during the class. So I'm going to give you the choice. You can either, I guess it'll be like a short meditation to start. You can either start in a reclined corpse pose. We're probably going to be there for 4 or 5 minutes, or you can get in a comfortable seated position. So whichever is comfortable for you guys, whichever one you feel like you can relax the most in, or kind of just really let go. So what we're going to do is, wherever you are, reclined or seated, we're going to close our eyes and just start to notice your body, how things feel. And so what we want to do for this mantra is sort of think of a word that feels relevant for you today, something that you might be able to create a short mantra out of. So an example would be I am. Maybe you would say I am peace. Or you could think of inner peace. You could think about inhaling peace, exhaling struggle. There's a mantra that Ram Dass has, which is I am loving awareness. And I think that's a really nice one. So I'll leave you guys to think about your word, your mantra. We'll slowly start to focus on that. Letting your breath move naturally. You can slowly start to open your eyes. bring your awareness back to the space you're in. If you're lying down, you can slowly roll onto your side, make your way into a seated position. Once you're here, we're going to start with a few gentle neck stretches. So let's drop our right ear to our right shoulder. Rest there for a moment. We're going to let our chin drop and roll along as we roll our neck over to our left side. Left ear to left shoulder. And switch again. Right ear to right shoulder. And we'll move a few times at your own pace here, maybe moving with your breath. We'll come to a neutral position. We'll bring our legs into butterfly pose. So let's, sitting nice and tall, bring the soles of your feet together. Find a place that's comfortable for you. It might be way out here, it might be nice and close. Whatever your body needs today. And as we're sitting tall, we're going to start to fold over our feet, just gently, opening those hips a little bit. You might like to grab the soles of your feet and try to open them as though you're opening a book in front of you. Otherwise, you can keep the soles of the feet pressed together. Spine is nice and long. Maybe deepening stretch as we move. Just a little bit further forward. A few more breaths here. Let's use our hands, start to push into the ground gently as we rise back up. Now we're going to come into fire log pose. So what we're doing is stacking our legs on top of each other. So starting whichever one you want first on the bottom, left or right. I've got my left down. So I've got it parallel to my body in front of me. And the idea is to stack the other leg on top. Maybe you've got the knee over your foot, and your top foot might be down close to your hip, or you may be able to bring it out close to your knee, almost as though you're trying to create a campfire. When you find that place that's comfortable for you, again, we're sitting tall and inhale, and then exhale again, we're going to start to fold over. This is another hip opener. This one's a little bit deeper, so if you need to adjust your leg as you fold, go for it. What you want to do is try and keep those sit bones on the ground as you're folding forward. So you might have your hands on the ground helping to kind of push the sit bones back as you fold over. And find a place that you feel like you could rest for a moment. We're going to stay here for probably about a minute. Maybe on your inhale, you can think about sending some of that nice, fresh, oxygenated blood down to your hip that's opening up here. For me, it's the right one. I've got my right leg on top. Slowly starting to rise up, let's walk those hands back in towards us. And then we'll switch legs, but let's give them a stretch out in front of us first. Maybe give them a little shake, a little wiggle, whatever you feel like your body might need. Then we'll switch sides, so opposite leg on the bottom this time, other leg on the top, again, bringing that top leg to a place that's comfortable for your body. Inhale, sitting nice and tall. Exhale, we're starting to fold over here. You may notice that one side feels tighter than the other. Don't feel the need to go as deep into the pose on both sides if that's not what your body needs today. Maybe coming back to your mantra while we're here. Something to focus on if we ever feel like a pose is a lot of work. Slowly starting to rise up, let's walk those hands back in. Uncross those legs, stretch them out, give them a nice gentle shake. We'll stretch the right leg out to the side, bring the left leg, the sole of the foot to your inner thigh. Again, sitting nice and tall. We're going to fold over towards our toes, so our foot is flexed. You can place your right hand on your right shin or maybe on the inside of your right thigh, depending how flexible and open you're feeling this morning. So inhale, stretch and reach those left fingertips over towards those right toes. Slowly opening that chest, not caving forwards. We're going to sweep that left arm up and over, placing it down on the mat behind us. And we're going to lift that right hip off the mat, sweeping the right arm up and over. So getting a stretch on the side of our body, both sides, different stretch, keeping those hips lifted, right arm stretched over and back. And then we'll slowly lower those hips back down and switch sides. So let's open that left leg out to the side. Right foot comes to the inner thigh. Sitting nice and tall, and we're taking our left hand either on our left calf or possibly the inside of our left thigh. And sweep that right arm up and over. Seeing if you can open the chest a little bit towards the ceiling here. Maybe lifting your gaze towards the ceiling if it's not a strain for your neck. Don't forget to breathe while we're here. Slowly start to rise up, placing that right hand on the mat behind us. Sweep that left arm and left hip up. A nice big stretch. Last breath here, and then we'll lower back down to the mat. We're going to bring ourselves into a tabletop position. So, moving on to our hands and knees. Knees below hips, hands below shoulders. Fingers are spread wide. Tops of the feet are pushing into the mat. And let's just start in a tabletop. So flat back, core is engaged, tailbone slightly tucked. Taking a few breaths here. And then our next inhale, we're going to drop the belly, lift the tailbone, lifting your chest and your chin. Exhale, pushing into the mat, curling your spine. Tuck the tailbone, tuck the chin. We'll do a few cat and cow, moving with your breath. Inhale, lifting the tailbone, the chest. Exhale, curling the spine. And if you feel like you need a bit more of a wiggle, just go for it. Maybe you'd like to move those hips side to side. After our next exhale, we'll come again to a neutral tabletop position. We're going to take a lion's breath. So that's a big inhale and exhale with our tongue sticking out. So together we'll inhale. Exhale, stick that tongue out, big exhale. Well, we're all still at home and we can take these big exhales. One more time, inhale. Nice big exhale, stick that tongue out, stretch the jaw. Then come up into a downward facing dog. So let's tuck those toes, push into the hands. Lift that tailbone. Probably the first downward dog of the day for most of us. Wiggle those hips, walk the feet out, however you feel your body needs. Maybe bending the knees into a squat, straightening them back out. And we'll find some stillness. It's all right if our heels aren't touching the mat. We can keep a slight bend in the knees. And then when we're ready, we're going to inhale our right leg up to the sky, nice and long, for a three-legged dog. Let's hold it here for a minute. Feel that stretch. Point those toes, keep the hips squared. And then we'll bring that right foot forward, placing it between our hands. We're going to rise up into Warrior One. So let's step that back foot in about a foot or so. And on a 45-degree angle, checking your heels are in line. And then we'll rise up, bringing the arms overhead, bending that front right knee. Shoulders away from the ears. Gentle gaze forwards. And we're going to take our first vinyasa of the day. So let's place those hands either side of the right foot, maybe slightly ahead. Step that right foot back. Stretch out that left one. We're in high plank here. From here, we can either do knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga, whatever is in your practice. If we're doing knees, we lower the knees to the mat, tuck the elbows, lower the chest, the chin, untuck the toes, come into a baby cobra. And we'll all meet in downward facing dog. Breathing here. Maybe shake your head no. Just a gentle stretch for it there. Then let's inhale that left leg up nice and long towards the sky. Hips are squared, toes pointed. Big long stretch, reaching out long through those toes. And let's bring it forward, place it on the mat, rising up into Warrior One on the left side. So step that right foot in, about a foot. It's on a 45-degree angle, checking our alignment. This one always feels a bit awkward for me. I feel like I need to readjust a few times, checking my alignment. Breathing here. Now let's place those hands either side of that left foot or slightly in front. stepping back into a high plank. Here you can take chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. Upward facing dog or baby cobra. And pushing back to downward facing dog. Taking a moment to breathe here. Maybe coming back to your mantra. Try to use it as a way to bring a focus into your practice today. Again, we're going to inhale that right leg up nice and long, stretching it out. The hips are square. Let's bring it forward, place it between your hands. We're rising up to warrior one again. So stepping in a bit, checking your alignment. Bend that right knee. Core is engaged. Upper body nice and tall. From here, we're going to push off into warrior three. So let's start to slowly shift our weight forward onto that right foot. Toes are gripping into the mat. Sweep those arms out to the side. You've got space there. Feel free to bring your hands to your hips, checking that they're square to the mat. Then we'll bring the arms back out to the side. It's okay if you fall out of the pose, if you lose your balance. Just come back into it when you're ready. Then let's lower back for warrior one again. So lower that left foot back to the mat. Sweep those arms up and overhead. And we'll take a vinyasa. So let's bring our hands back down to the mat, either side of that right foot. Step back to a plank. Let's pause here in plank. And then lower either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. If you are going into upward facing dog, check that your shoulders are away from your ears. So we push back into downward facing dog. A few breaths here. Fingers are spread wide, index fingers pointing forward. Let's bring that left leg up. Three-legged dog, pointing toes, hips are squared. Looking forward between our hands, let's step that left foot forward, coming up into warrior one. Step that right foot in a foot. Rise up. Then we're going to push off to warrior three. So again, left toes gripping into the mat as we start to shift our weight forward. Bring that right leg up and off the mat. When you're ready, float those arms out. Strong leg, strong ankle. Last breath, then we're going to come back into warrior one. So when you exhale, let's lower back down. Bring those arms up and overhead. Bring those hands back down to the mat, coming into a plank pose. Let's take a breath here in plank. And then you can either go straight to downward facing dog or take a vinyasa. From here, we're going to come into a wide-legged child's pose. So let's lower the knees as wide as the mat. Untuck those toes. Push our tailbone back towards our heels. See if we can find a place of rest for your forehead, either on the mat or maybe by creating a stack with your hands. Coming back to your mantra. Very slowly starting to rise up. Fingers are spread wide. Let's lift the tailbone, tuck the toes, and again push back into downward facing dog. Giving it a wiggle if you need. Stretching those legs. Really pulling the sit bones and tailbone up towards the sky, ceiling. From here, we're going to lift our right leg again for a three-legged dog. This time, let's bend the knee and open that hip. So you're looking out under your right shoulder, side of the room, opening that hip a little bit. And then let's bring that right leg forward, place it between our hands, coming up to warrior one again. So let's jump that left foot in about a step as we rise up. Lots of warrior ones today. So that right knee is bent. Look down, see if you can see your right big toe. Check that your right knee is not falling inwards. We're going to push off to warrior three again. So let's again start to shift that weight forward. Coming up onto that right foot. Left leg's out, reaching behind us. Foot's flexed. Imagine you're pushing into an imaginary wall behind you. This is a balancing pose. See if you can fill the space around you and in your mind with your mantra, something to help you focus. Going back to warrior one, so left foot comes back down to the mat. Rise back up. We'll just take one breath here. Then we're going to open to warrior two. So windmill that back left foot to a 90-degree angle. Checking our alignment quickly, our right heel's in line with the instep of our left foot. Pushing equally into all sides of our feet, we bend that right knee. Arms are reaching equally forwards and behinds, gazing out over those right fingertips. Strong legs supporting us. Then we're going to reverse the warrior. So that right hand starts to slide back down the left thigh. Sorry, left hand slips down the left thigh. Right arm slips up and overhead as we open our chest towards the ceiling. Right knee is still bent, not sinking inwards. If you were to look down, you'd still see your big toe. Coming back up to warrior two, taking one breath here. Then let's windmill our hands either side of that front foot. Step back to plank. Take a breath here in plank. On our tippy toes, core is engaged. And then either chaturanga or meeting in downward facing dog. Really pushing into those hands, lifting the tailbone. Let's go ahead and lift that left leg up nice and long, three-legged dog, bending the knee on this side as well. Looking out under that left arm. Nice big stretch for that hip. Strong arms, they've got you. Let's bring it forward for warrior one. Step that left foot forward between your hands. Right foot in slightly. And rise up. Going to push off into warrior three. So again, let's shift our weight forward. Hips are squared to the mat. Right foot is flexed, pushing into an imaginary wall behind you. And when we're ready, the hands split out to the side. Continue to breathe. Let's come back to warrior one. So lower that right foot. One breath in warrior one. Just gonna spin around, then we're gonna open into warrior two. So let's rotate that back right foot, 90-degree angle, checking your alignment. Ideally, your spine is straight. See that left big toe, arms reaching equally forwards and back. Looking out over those left fingertips. Focusing on the breath. Never holding it. Let's take that right hand, sweep it down the back thigh, reversing our warrior. Left hand sweeps up and overhead, opening that chest towards the sky. Maybe we're smiling. Let's rise back up, warrior two. Windmill those hands either side of that left foot, coming into a high plank. Pausing here for a moment. And then either vinyasa or go straight to downward facing dog. Using our downward facing dog as a place of rest for a moment here, catching our breath if we need to. Then let's inhale that right leg up towards the sky, bending the knee again. Looking out under your right arm. Bring that foot forward, place it between your hands, coming up into warrior one again. Step that left foot in, rise up. One more breath here, and then we're coming into warrior three. So the exhale, let's start to shift our weight forward again, lifting that back left foot for our imaginary wall. Floating here, then let's lower back to warrior one. Rising up. Coming into warrior two again. Let's wiggle that back left foot back just a little. Checking our alignment as we go. And again, we'll reverse our warrior. So left hand down that left thigh, right arm sweeps up and overhead. This time we're going to come forward. So let's rise up, bring that right forearm towards our right thigh. Not putting any weight there, but just letting it rest gently. Left arm sweeps up and overhead. See if you can open that chest a little bit towards the ceiling as we're here. Pushing equally into all sides, all four sides of the feet on the mat here. Let's rise back up to warrior two. From here, we're going to straighten that front right leg, coming into triangle pose. So let's shimmy the left hip out towards the back of the mat. Right hand is reaching forward. They'll sweep down towards your inner right calf. Maybe it's on the mat, maybe by your knee. Left arm opens towards the ceiling. Imagining you're pressed between two planes of glass, trying to straighten your upper body, maybe using your right leg as leverage. Let's rise back up for warrior two. Taking one breath here. Windmill your hands either side of that front foot. Step back to plank, taking a breath here. Core is engaged. Either heading straight to downward facing dog or taking your vinyasa. Breathing here. Seeing if you can still your breath. Then let's lift that left leg up. Three-legged dog, bend that knee. Look out under your left arm. And then we'll bring it forward, place it between our hands, rising up to warrior one on the left side. So step that right foot in about a foot. Arms up and overhead. And we'll push off to warrior three again. So let's shift that weight forward. Right leg out. If you lose the balance, just start again. And let's lower that right foot back for warrior one. Let me switch myself around quickly, then opening to warrior two. Checking our alignment here. Take our right hand, sweep it down the back of your right thigh, left arm sweeps up and overhead, opening the chest again towards the sky. 2 more breaths here. You've got this. Let's come forward, place that left forearm on that right thigh, sweep the right arm up and overhead, reaching towards the front of the space that you're in. Again, checking that you're not putting any weight on that right thigh. Your legs and your core are supporting you. Let's rise back up. Warrior two. Straighten that front left leg, shimmy that right hip out towards the back of the mat. Left arm starts to reach forward and comes down to your inner calf. Left arm, right arm towards the ceiling. Triangle pose. One more breath here. Let's rise back up. One breath in warrior two. Windmill those hands either side of your front left foot. Stepping back to a high plank, pausing here. And then either head straight to downward facing dog or chaturanga. Upward facing dog. And then downward facing dog. Gonna come into a wide-legged child's pose again. So let's drop those knees as wide as the mat. Untuck those toes, push your tailbone back towards your feet. Finding a place to rest your forehead here. Spreading those fingertips wide, pushing into the mat. We're going to start to rise up back to downward facing dog. So let's tuck those toes, lift the tailbone. From here, we're going to look forward between your hands. Let's step the right foot forward, the left to meet the right, and then we'll fold forward. Very slowly starting to rise up. Let's bring our hands to our heart center. Pushing our palms equally together. Maybe push a little harder on the right than the left. Soft gaze. Find that place where your hands are engaged. Coming back to your mantra. As we release our hands, opening your eyes if they're closed. We're going to come into a chair pose, so let's heel toe those feet together, keeping the big toes together, heels slightly separated. Unless it's more comfortable for you, you can keep a slight distance in both the toes and the heels. When you're ready, we'll sweep our arms up and overhead, sitting back on an imaginary ledge. Let's play with our balance here. See if you can sort of rock yourself back, lifting those toes. This is usually a good place to know that you're sitting back where you should be if you can lift those toes. 2 more breaths here, you've got this. Arms are reaching up, shoulders away from the ears. Exhale as we fold forward, bringing the hands down to the mat. We're gonna breathe here for a moment. Give those legs a wiggle or a shake if you need to. Relax your shoulders, your neck. Very slowly, we're gonna start to rise up. Our head will be the last to come. Bring your hands back to our heart center. Taking a moment here. One more time in chair pose, so when we're ready, we'll sweep those arms up and overhead, sitting back. You've got this. Strong legs, core is engaged. See if you can tuck that tailbone while you're here. Instead of sticking it out, let's try that. Help protect our lower spine. 2 more breaths, see if you can sit just a little bit deeper. You've got this. Exhale, rise up and fold forward. This time when we're here, let's step our feet as wide as the mat, or you can even bring them just to the outside of the mat if you'd like. Let's rotate those feet to a 45-degree angle. Folding here. Maybe you'd like to walk those hands back a little bit further to help deepen the stretch. Or you'd like to grab onto your big toes with your pointer and index and middle finger. Using that to help pull you a little bit further into this forward fold. Wherever you are in this, let's start to come out, release those fingers. If you're there, walk your hands forward. Let's heel toe those feet back together. And very slowly start to rise up. Head is the last to come. Bring your hands to our heart center. We're going to inhale our arms up and overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, place the hands down to the mat. Stepping back to high plank. Holding here. We are going to do a few elbow taps from high plank. So while we're in high plank, your core is engaged, arms are strong, fingers are spread wide. Lift that right foot off the mat, tap the right knee to the right elbow, stretch that leg back straight. Bring the right knee to the left elbow, stretch it back straight. And then we're curling inwards. Left knee curls towards your chin, bringing it back straight. Switching sides, rise that left leg to left elbow, back straight, left knee to right elbow, bringing it back straight. And one more time, curling towards the center and back straight. From here, let's push back into downward facing dog. Catch your breath here. Coming back to your mantra. Looking forward between your hands, let's step that right foot forward. Left to meet the right. Forward fold. And then very slowly, we are going to start to rise up. Let's roll those shoulders back. Take a moment, give everything a little bit of a wiggle here. We're gonna come into dancer pose. So I'm gonna change my positioning. So another balancing pose. When you're ready, we'll start to put the weight onto our left foot. I'll give a few examples. You guys can do whatever is right for your body and your practice. So we'll come onto the tippy toes of our right foot. Right hand comes down behind us, almost as though we're reaching behind to grab someone's hand. If you've got a strap and you're using it, that's great, awesome. You know what you're doing. Then let's start to lift that right leg. See if you can catch a hold of the top of the foot with your right hand. This may be your pose today if you can reach it here. If you're comfortable, then we're going to start to push into the top of that right foot, pushing it into the hand. And don't let it come out to the side. We'll try and keep your hips squared. So that hand, if you fall out, feel free to start again. Pushing into the hand with the back of that foot. If you're comfortable here, you may like to lift your left arm, the mudra, index finger touching your thumb, reaching forwards and upwards. And it's not necessarily about tipping forward as it is about reaching your arm up, pushing the foot into that leg. That's excellent. Working on our balance. You've got this. Come back to your mantra, whatever that is, helping you through this pose. Very slowly starting to come out. We can bring our hand down, start to release that leg. Coming back to the mat, giving everything a nice good shake. Well done. Definitely feel the difference on my legs right now. So switching sides, really grounding down into the sole of that right foot. Toes are gripping into the mat, your ankles nice and strong. Come up onto those left tippy toes. And if you're using your hand, your left hand comes behind you again, like you're reaching behind to shake someone's hand or maybe grab a baton in a relay race. Then we'll start to lift that left foot, bring the top of that foot pushing into the palm of your hand. Then we're ready, we'll start to push further. Seeing if you can open that hip. That standing leg is strong. Hips are squared, not out to the side. Finding a focal point, something you can look at that's not moving, so probably not me. Fingers together if you can, raising that arm up. See if you can push back into that leg just a little bit further. 2 more breaths here. And then slowly release, coming back to the mat, giving everything a nice big shake. And then from here, we are going to lower down to our seat. So however you'd like to get there. Coming back down. Oh, there's a really big bug here in my house. Oh, don't mind me. Okay, so from here, we've got our, we're gonna sit back, we're gonna come into a boat pose. So feet are touching the mat in front of us. Sitting nice and tall, knees are bent. We're going to very slowly start to lower back. So start to shift your weight back. Maybe your feet start to come off the mat. Let's try and keep our spines as straight as we can. Imagine you've got a block between those legs that you're holding together. Maybe you can lift your arms and reach out in front of you. Your core is engaged. It helps to keep your spine straight if you imagine maybe you've got a string from your top of your chest bone pulling you forward. You might be able to straighten those legs a little bit. Embrace the shaking. You've got this. 2 more breaths. And then we're going to start to lower down to a reclined position. So very slowly, slow as you can, checking the space around you as you go. Coming back down to the mat. Let's reach our arms up and overhead. Nice long stretch. And then we're going to come back into boat pose one more time. So bringing your arms back down to your sides. Let's bend those knees, bring them in for a hug. And then from here, we're going to see if we can rock ourselves up to a boat. So you might need to rock a few times. And once you get yourself up, again, checking that your chest is forward, stretching those arms out if you can, and see if you can straighten those legs a little bit further than you did last time. a little bit more than last week, maybe, if you took this class with me. 2 more breaths. Very, very slowly, we'll lower back to the mat again. Slower than last time if possible. Again, one nice big stretch overhead. And we'll bring the legs in for a hug. Then we're gonna come into happy baby. This one's really good for our lower spine. So if anyone spends a lot of time sitting, so we'll bring our hands, knees are bent, bring those hands on the inside of the thighs and around the outside soles of your feet if you can. So just rotating for anyone that's confused. So knees are bent, coming down towards the shoulders, arms sweep through, grabbing the soles of your feet. And feel free to play with this pose while you're here, maybe pushing into the soles of your feet, right and left, letting it rock you side to side. Massaging that spine. Let's come back to center, bring those legs together, give them a hug. Then we're going to shoot that right leg out nice and long, straight down the mat. Bring that left leg that you've got in a hug, maybe grab a hold of it with your right hand, help pulling it over towards the right side. Coming into a twist. So see if you can keep that left knee bent, right leg is straight. Using that right hand to either help pull that right knee further to the mat, or maybe you've got both arms stretched out to the side, gazing out over your right shoulder. Come back to center. Grab that left knee, help to pull ourselves back to the center. Maybe another little hug for those legs, then we'll stretch the left one out nice and long. Using the left hand to lower that right knee out over to the left side. Arms are stretched out towards the side, or maybe you've got your left hand still on that knee, helping to deepen the stretch. Go ahead and close your eyes if you'd like. Let's bring that knee back to center. One last hug. And then let's stretch those legs out nice and long, getting comfortable for Shavasana. Maybe you've got your feet about as wide as the mat. Sorry, your heels about as wide as the mat, letting your feet fall out to the sides. Your hips are relaxed. Arms are open to the sides, palm facing up. Eyes are closed, your jaw is relaxed. Check you're not holding any tension in your forehead. And as you rest here, I'm going to play some music that hopefully you'll be able to hear while you enjoy this well-earned Shavasana. Kindness of the Holy Start to deepen our breath, bring some awareness back to our body. When you're ready, you can roll onto your right side. Maybe giving your toes and your fingers a wiggle. You can come into a seated position, maybe keeping your eyes closed or with a soft gaze. We'll bring our hands to our heart center. And if your mantra is something that you found helpful in your practice today, maybe you can take this with you off your mat, and anytime that you feel uncertainty or stressed or anxious in your day, you can come back to this mantra and see how that makes you feel. Mantra is something that has been proven to be an effective way to calm and focus the mind. So maybe that can help you throughout your day today. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste. I will